paired with 5G ultra wideband. Wow.
The new Samsung Galaxy S20.
Did you get a chance to play Windjammers 2?
No, I will tomorrow.
He's pretty good. Dude, there's so... Ugh. I feel like an old man. There's so much new stuff.
That's what
Like-
that's what I'm scared of.
You're like, you took my game that had 2 buttons, and now there's 4 buttons. You doubled the buttons! It's good, though, man. It's good. It's got that rollback netcode. Pretty slick. There's 3 characters.
Oh, it
and
does
3
have
stages.
rollback?
It does have rollback, yes. So they did a open demo in, I believe it was June of last year, and the reception was not that good, primarily just because the netcode was not great. But this time they they went back into, because they were supposed to release it. At least there was speculation they were supposed to release it at the end of 2020 was their target date, and they completely nope. Let's listen to the community. Let's put in this rollback netcode. If they have any other, literally right now, if you're playing the demo, you can go to their Discord, and there's literally instructions for give us feedback. Any feedback, we don't care how wild it is. Let us know, because we literally want to make this game super accessible for everybody.
That's sick. I like that. That sounds good. Just gotta find. I'll find one more image. We can really get going.
One more image, then we'll start the show.
I think I found it.
It's funny. I was going to ask you what you're looking for. I was going to try and help you, but you've been keeping your topics away from me,
I love it.
which
dude.
I like. I like having the element of surprise.
Okay, look at that. That's how I'm feeling today, dude.
It's a kind of day.
Yes. All right, pull the scripted poopa. I mean, no script. We don't go off a script here. Ooh. We are ready. Wait, I gotta do one more thing. I just gotta retweet it, dude.
For anybody that didn't get the reference last week, I'll take this little bit of time. When Alex said about cream betweens, we have kind of an ongoing inside joke. If you ever go to the...
Don't ever say cream between's an inside joke to me ever again.
If you ever go to it's called Save-A-Lot. It's a grocery store. You may have the chain near you or around you, but they save you money by selling you knockoff versions of food. So instead of Oreos, they have cream betweens.
Oh, dude, I forgot.
And
they're delicious. Cream betweens are delicious.
they are. They're not bad. That's
They're
the thing.
good.
They're not bad for half the price.
They're good. One second. I forgot one more thing, dude. It's my thing.
Okay. So if anybody out there wants to, go to your local Save-A-Lot, take a photo of a package of Cream Betweens, and tweet at LFTG official. Alex loves Cream Betweens. That'll be our secret. Nice tall glass of water. Before the show starts.
It's my fancy bottle of apple juice. Welcome. Thank you so much for pulling up. Sliding into this wonderful episode of the LFTG Podcast. We're here at episode 19. I am your host, Refresh, and this is the other, more distinguished, more furry, also more reasonable most of the time host.
I'm definitely furrier, but I don't know if I'd say more prestigious or reasonable. It's Mohawkmike.
It's Mohawkmike. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. I'm excited for this week. So, we got a lot to recap. Well, I got a lot specifically to recap. You don't know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. But if you guys have not come to the show before, every now and then I do like another little intro. If you guys have not been a part of the show before, we have 3 segments. We have the quick scope where we fire through topics real quick, 2-minute sections. We kind of just get the info out there. You guys kind of know, have the heads up of what's going on in the esports world with those topics. Then we have the reload, which is long-form discussion. Well, not really long-form discussion. It's 5 minutes. It's just it takes a while to reload. So usually we got to get something off of our chest and talk about something a little bit more in depth. Every now and then a little bit of a debate comes out, and then we have our upcoming events, which is self-explanatory. We have upcoming events that we want to watch. But let's get right into it. As you guys see, the topics are back. Call of Duty topics are here. League play. We have an official date for league play. I've talked about league play multiple times. It's on the 8th. It's this week. And wait. No, it's not. It's next week. Is it? What?
Yeah, it's next week.
Next week. Right before the show.
In
so
5 days at the time of recording.
Oh, yeah. So in 7 days, I'll talk about how good League play is or how bad it is. They say it's going to be similar to Black Ops 4, which is not what I was wanting to hear, but they said it's going to also be better than Black Ops 4, which is what I want. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. We'll see what iteration they have. I think the one thing that they really need is, like, true elo to skill. Like, they need to really show, like, skill-wise what represents represents a player. I hope they go based off of wins and KD, not just wins, because I feel like that's where a lot of mistakes are made in developing a ranking system. But I think this is going to be overall good for the life of the game. Just a few days before the league actually starts, because the league starts on the 11th. So I'm ready to go in.
Do you agree with the decision to push league play as far out as they did to coincide with the launch of the CDL, or do you feel like it should have launched weeks prior to this, just in case there are bugs or cheating or anything like that? Do you agree with them postponing league play up until this point?
Okay, so my stance on it is this. I think they need to push league play out far enough to where we understand what should and should not be in competitive, but not so far out. I think it was too far this time. I think at the latest you need to go like mid-January. At the latest, I say roll in the new year with league play every year. Because the issue is because we've kind of known, especially like what maps we were going to be playing, the modes, what guns we were not going to be using, what guns we were going to be using. I think you just need to keep everything kind of tight and like uniform, and you need to keep people interested in the game, especially if you have a battle royale right now that people aren't so necessarily happy with. I don't know. I think I also think the competitive season should be longer, because we go from this year we're gonna go from February 11th to probably late August, early September. And that's not very long. And if the game comes out in November or December like it did this year, that's a long off season before we're playing really anything competitive. And last year it was really rough because there was no ranked play online, so you're either playing GBs or not playing it at all.
Yeah.
But that's enough about Call of Duty for now. Let's get into some not Call of Duty news. We have some Halo news today. 343 announced a series of articles that they're going to be releasing once a month. Basically, it's a blog, just kind of where they are with the development of Halo and its esport and how they're going to be moving forward with the esport. Some notes to take away from the article that released 3 days ago is Halo Infinite is planning to be an open esports ecosystem. So that basically what that means is they're gonna continue what they're doing right now and allowing grassroots tournaments to happen and promote these grassroots tournaments, and not stopping any new organization from picking up a team and allowing anybody to play in their tournaments, unlike a lot of the leagues formats we have today, such as the CDL, Overwatch League, where there's a barrier of entry for a professional team to come in. So for this first year of Halo really being back, I did expect this. I expect them to be like, all right, they're going to get their format down. We're going to open our arms, welcome, and I can see them franchising in the future. I just, who knows when. I think franchising would be a good thing for Halo. I think Halo is one of those esports that would benefit from it. Halo has always had one of those prize structures that is similar to a franchise esport. However, the community isn't there yet. So I agree with this approach. Just welcome everybody in with open arms, host as many events as possible, get the community used to the game, and then you can go forward there. They also had screenshots a couple days ago. A couple days prior to that article, they put up some screenshots on Halo Waypoint of some of the guns. The Hydra's making a comeback. The new DMR-esque weapon, the Commando. The new shotgun. I want to say Bullfrog but it's called the Bulldog. Bullfrog's SMG, but it's the Bulldog. It looks like an auto shotgun. It looked like a crazy shotgun with a drum magazine on it. So I don't know. I'm excited. I like this open form of communication with the community. If you guys want to go to Halo Waypoint, it's the first thing on their site that you'll see. You can click on all the articles and read through the development of the game. But I like the openness from them. I think that's a good thing to have, especially I want to say this early in development. Even the game's been delayed, but the game doesn't come out until fall, most likely on the anniversary of Halo. It's still quite a ways out, so that means we have many months of updates and more information to look forward to. For a long time, man, it was just quiet over there. That was the concerning part. I just didn't know what was going on. I think there's a big difference between not saying anything and giving us a little bit of information. And I think a little bit of information gets me excited. I thought about playing Halo today. I didn't, but I thought about it. And I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about that in a long time. Speaking of organizations and esports, one of the biggest esports has made a crazy decision. Talk to me.
Well, we mentioned it a few weeks ago that Fortnite has announced that there will not be a World Championships for 2021. There are still going to be competitive online events, but they're not anticipating holding any in-person events. nor World Championships this year. And the community, specifically the esports community, has not reacted very well to it. And this might be another nail in the coffin, as TSM has announced they will be backing out completely out of competitive Fortnite. They are dropping their players. They may still hold one or two of them on just for content creation. Because, like, if you look at somebody like Myth, right? Myth came in as a competitive Fortnite player, but then transitioned more into the position of content production and basically just being like this face that the whole organization could use. So TSM realizing it's not really as wise to keep their funds tied into Fortnite right now, just because the competitive circuit is so disjointed to what it previously was.
Yeah.
And obviously those investment dollars can go somewhere else. Who knows if they're going to invest and put into another team or another esport or whatever it may be. But I think this is huge news, specifically because TSM is a huge organization.
Yep.
And the fact that they're pulling out of competitive Fortnite really, really, like, it just sets a precedent. It sends it's like the flare gun going off. All these other orgs now have to realize, if TSM isn't as invested in competitive Fortnite, should we be? Should we still back this pony, even though this is a weird kind of off year? Fortnite, it's not a dead game, but it's definitely lost some players to other battle royales and other potential, like, just games that are out there. So TSM backing out of Fortnite competitively is a huge, like I said, it's a potential another nail in the coffin for Fortnite as far as an esport.
I think the biggest thing is necessarily not the loss of prize money, but the loss of viewership that Fortnite has recently seen, because that right there will, like, you'll see less investment dollars coming in because you'll see less ad revenue. It's just a trickle down effect of all these things that are happening. Not only is the prize pot less, but also less people are watching the game. So I mean, I think this is a logical step. I didn't know if I expected it from TSM, because TSM's always been kind of in the face of competitive Fortnite. I mean, we'll see where Fortnite goes. I think just the structure of battle royale esports is super, super hard to manage.
Yeah.
Especially if there's no dollars in it, it doesn't make sense. It's more of a content creator's competitive paradise rather than a true competitor's paradise. And so I mean, this makes sense. But where would you watch this content? And I think I know the place, and I think you do as well. Decent segue. I'm starting to get better at it. YouTube, baby.
Listen, I'm a man of integrity, and I will admit, this entire time that we have been blessed in the era of Twitch, you're possibly watching this live on Twitch right now, YouTube after the fact, but YouTube Gaming, with two major announcements this week. First one, I won't go much into, but they're developing clips. They're developing a clipping system, which, as we know, when watching not just content creators, but also esports, is huge. I worked an event this past weekend. I'll get more into that later, but, like, being able to clip and share those hype moments instantaneously, huge. YouTube Gaming finally getting that feature. But more importantly, they're launching their first activation for account linking. So this is starting off. You thought we were only going to get one piece of Call of Duty news in the quick scope? Nah, I had to bring it in as well. You will be able, while watching the CDL this year, you'll be able to link your account for Call of Duty and earn perks while watching.
Yes.
It's not just XP boost. It's not just other in-game items. We have gun charms. We have all of this stuff. They have so much that they're rolling out. We already saw how successful this was with Overwatch League, and even with other esports that have been going on that linked up with Twitch. Now YouTube Gaming is getting on it as well. So not only can you exclusively watch the CDL on YouTube Gaming, now they have this account linking, which means that they're going to guarantee more viewership and longer viewership just because people want to get in and get those perks. It's an insane. I literally never thought, I'm like, there is nothing that is ever going to rival Twitch, but these two announcements just this week are making me start to kind of shift gears and eat my words a little bit.
I've been a little bit on the YouTube hype train for a bit, and I have always said the one reason why I don't use my personal stream on YouTube is because I can't clip anything. I can't download clips on it. I can't re-upload them to Twitter. It's a nightmare. But now things might be looking a little bit different. I'm super excited. I think this is crazy. I think it's good news.
I think it's huge news.
Oh,
huge!
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it's perfect. And I guess the big thing I can say is this last year, I think a lot of people started to realize YouTube was the real deal with streaming, because not only did they buy exclusivity for the Overwatch League and the CDL, Call of Duty also broke record viewership on YouTube when people thought it was just gonna tank in viewership. That's not necessarily true. Even the less hype games during Champs still had really, really good viewership for most esports. And I don't know. I think this is just a trend that YouTube's just kind of going on right now. I think they have nothing but good things in the work.
Well, I think the other thing here we have to take in consideration too is that Call of Duty has always lived on YouTube.
Yes.
That's where a lot of these big stars and a lot of these big clans and, iconic, FaZe and Optic and all of these players and iconic moments have always lived on YouTube. Twitch just necessarily never kind of really garnered that community at large. So having this be the first step into a more extensive YouTube gaming, kind of platform leverage, I think is huge.
Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job. I think what they need to do, and I think this is where Mixer really failed, is not pulling in one content creator at a time, but pulling in a group of content creators or a different selection of games. I think they did a really good job with doing Overwatch League and CDL at the same time, because they're two very, very different communities, and both coming over at the same time, and obviously them being part of the same organization, they can advertise, cross promote, so it just helps viewership for both. I mean, this is definitely like a crazy theory or a crazy. I think Halo specifically would benefit from being on YouTube. The one thing that Halo has a big lack of is re-uploading content and just content creation. And I think if they were to really premiere themselves on YouTube, they can have all of their content in one spot, and I think they could really promote themselves as a further content destination on YouTube. I think YouTube is, the audience is way more massive than Twitch. And I think it's just going to come down to a couple of marketing techniques where you can get the general public involved with your stream. I think that's going to be the big thing.
I will say one quick sidebar real quick. I don't know if you saw, but Tashi on Twitter actually posted that they are looking for an esports content, basically producer, someone who will film content, focus exclusively on Halo esports. You could go out there and apply for the job. It's open enrollment. Anybody can sign up for it.
Did you apply?
I don't know that I have the credentials enough, but I'm happy to.
I think you definitely
point
have
other
the credentials.
people.
But whatever. What do I know?
Maybe we'll just apply and see what happens. But like you were saying with Halo, I think that they are really looking forward to pushing way more content.
Yeah, they're doing a full restart with their esports scene. It's a perfect place to do it. Do it on YouTube. You're on a new channel, on a new platform, and all of your content's going to stay there, and anybody can watch it at any time.
Yep.
Speaking of YouTube and the CDL, okay, before we get into the reload, I'm going to full transparency right here. I had so much news and so many things happen just in the CDL this last week that I decided to merge both of my reload topics in it's just called the CDL recap, because we just got to go over matches that were played, a Challengers Cup happened, the full schedule for the CDL happened, so we're going to do the full transition here. Oh wait, I got to do this. I got to do one more thing. We're going to do the full transition, the screen wipe, boom, bah, LFTG, live for the game. We are here, and I'm going to give myself 10 minutes, because it's double time. It's 2 topics, and we're gonna talk about the friggin' CDL. I got a bunch of images pulled up right now. I say first, we talk about challengers, right?
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I feel talking about challengers is appropriate. Let's go over. We're just gonna go over the top 8 like we do. A little recap. Top 8. I'm actually gonna do something a little bit different. We always go from top to bottom. I'm gonna surprise you guys this week. I'm gonna go from bottom to top. So if there's a little bit of surprises, we have 7th and 8th. First team we're gonna go is Built by Gamers, Kismet, GodRx, Pander, and Pentagram. This roster has not changed in the last, I believe, 3 weeks. Consistently placing in the top 8, secured themselves 500 challengers points. I think this is a great team. I think they should stick together. I think they could do a lot of things going forward. The other 7th, 8th place team is HYXR, which is Zinx, Mayhem, Exotic, and Proto. This team kind of formed out of nowhere. I mean, obviously they place top 8. I think they're looking really good, but I think this team could struggle in the long run. You kind of have a little bit of egos on that team. Then you have 5th, 6th, you have KC Pioneers, Cade, Copier, Anthrax, and Destiny. We haven't seen this squad in the top 8 before, so them placing 5th, 6th is looking really good. Moki, Cells, Jimbo, Subliance, and Hollow. Coach Evasion. This is another squad that was thrown together and placed really well, so I'm happy to see some of these new squads forming together. I think now that we've done a couple of weeks in Challengers, players have kind of felt themselves through the field, basically. We have 4th, Insight, Scrappy, Onyx, and Teskey. 3rd, Cruz, Wand, Wiz, and Mine, coached by Faded. Team G Generation. This is a brand new team.
I was going to say, yeah.
Caused a lot of upsets on their way up. They had a crazy top 64 run. You guys can go to COD at COD_GamePedia on Twitter, and you can find the whole Wikipedia page for that. You guys can see their bracket run from there. We have UT Crew placing 2nd, 2 weeks in a row. Phantoms, Rex, Gentroid, and Yeez. And for the first time this year, we have a new Challengers winner, Pro Luke, Glow Frosty, Saints, and Spart. The Subliners Academy, officially the Subliners Academy, have won their first event. And do you know what team is not in the top 8?
Tell me who.
The team that had won the first 4 events in a row, Westar, got knocked out of the tournament at top 16. Crazy stuff. But
who knocked them out?
Oh man, I would have to go back through. I don't know. That's the problem. Like, I don't know who knocked them out. And then we're gonna go over here, which is EU. Rams ended up taking first place, which is Invadian, Journey, Lucky, and Metals. So I mean that's a team that should have won that event. It's a really good team. And then in APAC you have Renegades taking it again. They lost one. They're looking like Westar, but last time they got 3rd or 4th. They definitely didn't have a top 16. And then
that seems to be the trend though with this Challenger series, is that you're seeing a lot of the same teams in the same placements, but the fact that now we're weeks in and we're actually seeing some kind of jockeying for position, I think is really telling, especially a lot of these orgs that are either newer teams that are forming and kind of clicking with new teammates, or the actual orgs themselves that have their minor teams that are finally like really starting to establish themselves. That's the whole premise of this Challengers League.
Right.
So the fact that we're actually getting different results this week I think is telling, and we're going to know more going forward, especially with a lot of these, quote unquote amateur players that are going to get drafted and make huge splashes actually on the pro league.
Yeah, I agree. So everything's looking good in Challengers. I like to see the consistency. Every now and then you'll see a team fall off. This week happened to be Westar. I think they'll bounce back and place top 3 again. I think the Subliners Academy team. I think the Academy teams are now getting a lot of support. They're getting a lot of coaching from their official team as well. So I would like to see the Academy teams do well and do better in the series, more so than not. But we also had in the same weekend the kickoff Classic, which I predicted the matches. I'm going to go in to tell how close I was. I only predicted... I predicted 2 wrong, but 1 I almost predicted right. So, first match of the weekend was Dallas Empire versus New York Subliners. Fresh off of Tommy retiring Zuma, they picked up Diamond Con. Subliners got hot 3-0'd in the handshake. We predicted that. That was just it just wasn't looking well for them. With Tommy retiring, that doesn't help.
Yeah.
LA Gorillas versus Seattle Surge was the second one. In Game 5, Search and Destroy, and Seattle still loses them. Man, dude, they have the Game 5 curse. Apathy, former player of Seattle Surge, went off all day on them, and I was super sad because I felt like that was one of the players that overperformed for their expectation last year, and I feel like really went under the radar. I expect Apathy and the LA Gorillas to do a lot better than a lot of people think they're going to do. Seattle just needs to figure a couple of things out. Both teams I don't think played the best Call of Duty. I think there was a lot of visual mistakes. I don't know if they were trying that hard because it was a kickoff classic. I hope that's not the case. I hope we saw like their true potential. But both teams have a lot to work on, especially Seattle. The big upset that I predicted of this weekend happened in the way I thought it was. Game 5 went all the way the distance to round 11. Game 5, Florida Mutineers beat Atlanta FaZe. Yes, man. Florida was the underdog last year. I think they picked up steam. The meta changed a little bit. They couldn't really get their grip after that. But I think with how this year is looking, I think Florida is going to be a really consistent team. And I think they're really going to be a championship contender when it comes toward the end of the year. They're a scary team. Look out.
Oh, yeah.
And the first match of Sunday, which was the game I almost predicted right. I had doubts about them, and I should have went with my doubts. And somehow, the Paris Legion beat London Royal Ravens in a Game 5. We had talked about what is wrong with Paris for the last 10 weeks, and it looks like they showed up to play. They actually looked really good. Paris did look really good, and the young rookie Fire 40 was popping off all day. Superstar young talent, doing exactly what they needed to do. Paris is looking good. I mean that was a huge upset in my eyes, but it was one of those ones that I just had that feeling that Paris just might be better than what people think they are, and it showed up they did. The match, I think the match that was most interesting to me this weekend, besides like the big hype matches, we'll talk about the big one last, but the second one that I was most curious about was Toronto Ultra versus Minnesota Rocker. In my head, these are two middle of the pack teams. I think this was the most evenly matched besides Atlanta and Florida. And it went all the way to Game 5. Toronto barely losing it to a Minnesota Rocker, but with the Minnesota, that's almost an upset though, because with the squad that Minnesota Rocker have, especially with two players like Attach and Pristini on their, Prista on their team, Minnesota should be steamrolling a team like Toronto, and Toronto showed up. Methods played pretty well, but Classic played really, really well, and Vance played phenomenally. So good job by Toronto. Like to see that. I felt like they're a team that picks up steam towards the end of the year. I hope they keep on that trend. And then the most popular match of the weekend, Optic Chicago versus LA Thieves, and it did not even look fair. Holy moly. Optic
Dunked.
Ran over them with it was disgusting. That's going to wrap up the Kickoff Classic. Remember, the season starts on the 11th. And speaking of the season, the last thing I want to go over is the 2021 season schedule, which is, we're going to have this. So a lot of these home series aren't filled out all the way, but don't freak out. So how it's going to work is there's going to be 5 stages this year for the tournament formats. You're going to have home series, home series, home series, and those are all going to be seeding for the stage 1 major or the stage 2 major. So every stage after the 3 events has a major event where all of the teams play in a double elimination bracket, seeded similar to champs, and it's going to go February 11th, 18th, 25th, and then March 1st. So it's going to be 4 weeks in a row of Call of Duty. The first 3, which I like, and then there's going to take a 2-week break, and then you're going to get back in. So it's going to be 4 weeks, 2 weeks off. 4 weeks, 2 weeks off. I think that's insane. I'm so excited all the way through July 19th, and then after that they haven't shut the schedule for champs yet, so that's most likely going to be looking like it's in August, probably mid-August. Similar format as last year. The team seeded first and second will be put in winners quarters. We'll have to play less matches, which puts a lot of weight on your regular season placings. So even when you're in these groups, you need to play well. And we officially have the first group, which is the Atlanta home series, and the matches Thursday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time, pretty early in the day. It's LA Thieves versus Rocker. At 4:30 Eastern, it's going to be Empire versus Surge, Rip Surge. Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, we have Optic versus Legion. I mean, we'll see what Legion's made of. I think they might be able to take a hard point or 2 away from Optic, and that's what they'll need to do. Then we have FaZe versus Gorillas. I think that will be interesting. I would like to see how Apathy plays against a team like FaZe. And then they're the last, this is kind of weird. They're the last match on Friday, but they're also the first match on Saturday. Gorillas versus Legion. Mutineers versus Ultra. That should be good. LA Thieves versus New York Subliners. That I could see that going to a Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
Surge versus London Royal Ravens. I could see that going to a Game 5. Empire and Rocker should be interesting. And then the eSport Rivalry Classic in Call of Duty at least. Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there because Optic is playing FaZe in the first weekend of the CDL, and it's going to be a wild one. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped for all that. I'm hyped. 4 weeks in a row, major. 4 weeks in a row, major. I think that's a good format, and that's all my CDL news. Maybe next week I'll do a prediction.
I do want to say real quick that I really enjoyed the fact that with the kickoff series actually had better viewership than it did last year. It just eked out by a little bit. I think that may have been by the LA Thieves coming in and like actually that rivalry, obviously, like, you know, Nate Shot and Hex. But the thing more importantly that I wanted to state was like actually watching Optic play, they have their bubble. Like every single one, the team was sitting there. They were in their team house. Like they were all sitting next to each other playing. And specifically, like after Formal went off, you saw Hex behind him and the memes came out. Like, are you winning, son? Are you winning? Like he literally came in, the team owner came in and checked in after them. I think that's huge. That is paramount, especially because we're not really going to have a bubble system this year for CDL. It was, I'm getting pointed at.
Fun fact. A lot of people don't know this about the CDL this year, but every team is required to play out of the same facility.
So, I didn't know that.
So there's only 2 teams. I think it's Toronto. And LAG. But all of their teammates have to be in the same facility and compete from the same place. You can't have players split across the country. So you're gonna see. I think Atlanta's in Atlanta. You're seeing Atlanta in Atlanta, and you're gonna see everybody else basically in Dallas. Gotcha. But yeah, a lot of these teams are going to be playing. But yeah, no, it's a good and refreshing sight to see a team play and see a team owner and them to actually interact with each other. Because before, when someone gets frustrated, you could just see the camera turn off. Now it's like we can see them walk over and slap them on the back of the head if they need it.
Exactly.
I'm excited. Super excited. Speaking of events, maybe all events don't have to be professionally ran. They could be grassroots. Let's talk about some grassroots stuff. Talk to me.
So I talked about it for weeks on end in the upcoming events section. I kept telling you guys, you need to check out Frosty Frostings online. They were actually just in the chat. I hope they're still here so they can hear me praise them to the heavens. What an incredible event it was. The fighting game community got the bummest deal of anybody out of this entire pandemic, out of the entire lockdown. So many games out there, the prestigious games, right? We're talking about like the Street Fighters and games like that did not have good netcode. So just transitioning from offline events to online events was not really a thing. But by the will of the people and the community, it is still happening. And what happened at Frosty Frostings this past weekend, I think is the best proof of concept that we have seen for a fully inclusive online event. Not just a big esports spectacle, but really a community-focused and community-driven event. They ran all of their tournaments online, free to enter, completely open bracket, free to enter, using Matcherino. If you guys have never heard of Matcherino or unfamiliar with the service, basically think Kickstarter, but for gaming events. So on Matcherino, Frosty Frostings had t-shirts, they had hoodies, they had mouse pads, they had exclusive things that you could buy that when you purchase, part of that money goes into the prize pot. So for instance, like if you bought a t-shirt, $5 of that purchase went into the prize pot for the game of your choice. You could pick any game you wanted to of the entire roster. Not just that, but Matcherino also had codes, so you could enter in the code and get 50 cents added into the prize pot with none of your own money. All you had to do was go in and make an account, use the code, money got added to the prize pot. But then people were so hype for the event that they just started throwing money into the prize pots.
Yep.
Frosty Frostings every year is a Guilty Gear focused event. They ran a tournament for Guilty Gear Plus R that had 457 competitors for an online tournament. Now, normally, Frosties is a 2-day event. If you look at other fighting game majors like Combo Breaker, CEO,
Right.
Evo, that's 3 days. That's a 3-day event. In 8 hours, they ran a free-to-enter Guilty Gear Plus R tournament that ended up with a prize pot of over $5,000. $5,000.
That makes me so happy.
That's absolutely insane. You had other games like Skullgirls. You had other games like Fantasy Strike that raised over $1,000. There were so many other games that were out there. I really think, and here's the thing. The pandemic has obviously been terrible. Would not wish this to ever happen again to anybody, whether in our current timeline or anytime in the future. But one of the things that it's really proven is that if you have enough passion and you have enough wherewithal, just play whatever game you want. Play whatever game you love the most. And Sajam was just saying this the other night with the actual Killer Instinct Twitch Rivals event. Play what you love and people will show up.
Yeah.
Frosty Frostings, not only the reputation of their event, but then also too, they did things. They had an entire Discord channel dedicated to their artist alley. So normally when you would go to their event, you could actually buy like buttons and posters and things like that. Well, we can't physically do that in person. So they created a Discord for that. There was an entire artist alley over Discord.
That's sick.
So not only do I think this is the best proof of concept for fighting game events going forward, Combo Breaker already announced over Twitter that it's not happening this year. It's always Memorial Day weekend in Chicago, not happening in 2021. Obviously, a lot of other events are canceling as well, but this gives hope that you can run a successful online event and you still get the same satisfaction and community support behind everything else you're doing. Just like you, Alex, you're running online events for Halo and for Call of Duty. Could you imagine getting it to the point with like a service like Matcherino or like selling merch off of the web store, like getting to the point that it's basically the equivalent of a major, like literally a LAN size event. We're talking like 64 plus teams competing in a single weekend with prize pots this big, fully community supported.
That's the goal, man. I mean, making I like an event like this, not only does it bring the community together, it also makes it easy for the community because a lot of people that might not necessarily be able to attend in person can now play at home. Obviously, I would love live events to come back, and I think we need live events to come back eventually. But even when they do come back, I think seeing events being ran like this online with the community feel and the same community awareness that Frosty's had, I think is an important quality to keep around for forever. And I think that should be the goal with these events, is not only to provide not only to run your event successfully, but to also really help out your community that you love and really be able to make an online event like this, make it feel so good, be as accessible as Frosty's was. I think Frosty's did 10 out of 10 job doing an event like this, and is the prime example of how we should all be running events online. And props to Frosty's. Props.
Well, and that's not taking anything away either from people there's still tons of weekly events. All those locals that are happening for like games like Smash Brothers or like other games like that are still happening. They're still online. It's just the thing is, those bigger, larger scale events that you really like, you anticipate, you wait every year to happen to go to, are now fully, we now have the model of how to do this online. We're not just spectators. It's not just an invitational tournament. Like, we're literally getting the same experience. Obviously, it's different because you're not live in person, but like that same satisfaction. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Now, instead of a fist bump, like a physical fist bump, you're literally like clicking an emoji in Discord.
Yeah, no. So good job by Frosting. I want to see more events to do this. I mean, we know who to scream at as far as Combo Breaker goes to do an event like that for Combo Breaker, but I think the FGC should definitely get on that train and really follow Frosty's example.
Absolutely. It's just a phenomenal event. Again, once again, shout outs again to Matcherino. If you guys have never checked out their platform, definitely do so. It's a great way. Like, obviously we know like Challenge and Smash GG and like all these platforms as far as like actual like tournament registration and bracketing and things like that. Matcherino has a lot of other services rather than just like raising the money for events and prize spots and stuff like that. Definitely check them out, Matcherino. And then also too, like, if there's a game you want to run online tournaments for, there's never been a better time. Absolutely. Doesn't matter what the game is, doesn't matter the size of the community, how active they are, just start doing it.
Yep. I agree 100%. Speaking of FGC and esports, holy moly. Let's roll into some Brawlhalla news. We haven't talked about Brawlhalla in a minute.
So, kind of like I was saying, with like grassroots esports and never better time to run online tournaments, Brawlhalla has been doing this for over 6 years. This is their 6th year as a competitive circuit. Announced they have a $1 million prize pool for Brawlhalla for their entire upcoming season. $1 million. Now, obviously, that's a huge announcement. If you guys have never checked out Brawlhalla, definitely do so. But Alex, I wanted to more so kind of pick your brain about this. Obviously, Brawlhalla, as a competitive esports title, has been doing amazing things for their entire community.
Yeah.
They've been hosting live events, World Championship Series events, all over like events like DreamHack and such. Do you think this is the perfect timing with the nasty sour taste that everybody has in their mouth, specifically because of Nintendo? Do you think that we will see a migration of players potentially coming over to Brawlhalla?
If it is, it's temporary. I think the community, from what I see, the Nintendo backlash specifically is towards the Melee community, and when you look at the Melee community, there's not a lot of crossover, even with the other Smash games. There's some, there's not a lot. The two sign-up bases are very different. I would like to see some of these players play on this. I think it's a good opportunity for some of these players, especially some of the more skillful players, to play in a game like this, because I feel like they could learn this game really quick and use a lot of their reaction time, and I would like to see them benefit from an event like this. But I hope Brawlhalla isn't betting on the Smash community coming over to this, and I hope that they're looking to grow their community further instead of pulling from. I know. I mean, it's. I know Brawlhalla has every intention. We've worked with them before. They're super great people. I know their intention isn't to be like, well, this is the perfect time for me to get in on the Smash community. I just don't think that that's where their growth is going to come from. I do think this is going to bring a lot of awareness to the game. It might not necessarily be from that community.
Yeah,
That's my honest opinion.
Well, yeah, well, and let me counter that as well with the number one player in Brawlhalla is a 19-year-old Smash Ultimate player that basically switched over. He still plays both, but started playing more Brawlhalla. Not only has won singles, but has also won doubles. Back on January 20th, he was a professional player with Tempo Storm. They announced that they were releasing the Brawlhalla roster. So basically, the number one player in the game, weeks before they announced the $1 million prize pool, is literally let go by their org. So now is the time for another org to pick up this player who's literally one of the, like I said, won singles and doubles, reigning champion. Possible for another org to pick them up. We could see maybe like a TSM, maybe like an Evil Geniuses, maybe some other organization pick them up. Not just that, but think about what happens if like a Hungry Box or a Leffen, they just try and see this as easy money.
Yeah.
One of those higher profile players come in, there could be a wave of new players. Because the game, the netcode is phenomenal. The community support is phenomenal. And they do have a lot of licensing in this game. They have Rayman. They have characters from WWE. Like literally me, somebody who was like, I've seen enough Brawlhalla and I've played it enough that I'm like, oh, this game is fun. But as soon as they announced WWE content, I was like, you got my money. I'm told I will gladly buy this DLC and never install the game again. Because you know what? That's how fanatical I am about this. So a little bit of turmoil because the top players in Brawlhalla are all Smash players that just have basically competed more in the game. One, are we going to see more orgs get involved with seeing that $1 million prize pool? Two, do you think any big names will transition over? And three, it's not so much that Brawlhalla is trying to steal attention, but it's just that they literally have the money behind them.
Yeah, no, Brawlhalla has done a great job of, as far as, I mean, obviously I don't know their numbers of what they're pulling in, but when you see them from event to event and the way they have grown, it shows not only are they being successful in gaining a bigger following, but they're also being successful with whatever business endeavors they have, and this is where this is coming from. This is an opportunity for them to grow the community even further, slap a big $1 million prize pool on this because they have the opportunity to, and I think they're doing the right thing with this, and I think they're giving their community the spotlight that it truly deserves. I think if big names are going to come from the Smash community, it could be someone like Hungry Box, but I think it's mostly going to be the people from the Ultimate community. Mostly.
Absolutely. I think only time will tell, especially with it being more online focused. I would hope more people will give the game the try. Yeah. If you have never tried Brawlhalla, download it. It's free. What are you doing? It's free to play.
It's a free to play game.
You can get it on your Switch right now.
Yeah. It's a free to play game, and there's real incentive to get good at the game this year. I think this is definitely well deserved for Brawlhalla. Like, congratulations to them for being able to raise something like this for them to, and I think they'll be able to do an event like this comfortably. They wouldn't. They're definitely the type of organization. I don't think they would be doing an event like this because a lot of these people that do these esports take big risks doing big prize tournaments, and usually it works out. But I don't think this is a big risk for them. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for Brawlhalla.
Yeah, I would guarantee they already have the money earmarked. This was their plan all along.
Yeah, it's already out of escrow. It's already...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ready to be shipped out. Speaking of events, I was trying to think of an event that was coming up, and I saw what you had put in the Google Doc. And it is the only event we should be talking about. Because you and I have a history with this game. You taught me how to play this game. And I fell in love with it. And this game, my friends, is called Windjammers. But you know all the info with this event. Talk to me.
So I did take a part this past weekend at Frosty Frostings. they held a Windjammers tournament as a part of their festivities. I actually jumped in on commentary last second for top 8, and then also got to kind of admin and play around with a bunch of the players and stuff like that. Full transparency, Windjammers is an old arcade game that I personally have never liked playing online. I never thought the experience was the same. I never really, took part in online tournaments or hosted online tournaments, but working Frosties this past weekend changed my mind, primarily because the tournament was ran on Fightcade 2. Phenomenal netcode, phenomenal experience, never had any issues with it. And then what happens? Literally 2 days after the event, .emu graces us with the information that the Windjammers 2 demo is going to be running as a part of the Steam Game Festival from February 3rd to February 9th. So not only are people getting online, they're experiencing Windjammers. I just played it before we got online for this podcast. I literally less than 2 seconds to find an opponent. Not just that, but the netcode is phenomenal. I'm having a great experience with it. And again, this is somebody that comes from like really passionate for the first game. My good friend, Will English, decided before even the demo was downloadable, he is running his own tournament this weekend. He's calling it Shut Up and Jam. So if you guys want more info on that, you can follow him on Twitter. It's at WillEnglishIV for the 4th. He is donating his own Parsec servers to make this happen. So not only does the game have great netcode, but the tournament's going to be running over Parsec, and we're probably going to have a few talking head segments, actually talking about the game, improvements, changes, things like that. I couldn't have asked for anything better. Coming off of the high of Frosty Fostings to now get to experience the demo for a game 26 years. 26 years we've been waiting for this game to get a sequel. Now it's here.
What day is this event happening?
So this is on this Saturday, which is February 6th. Again, follow Will at Twitter at WillEnglishIV to get more info coming along right now. But I mean, we have people who have never even touched the game before. I saw streaming earlier. There was Lythero had 600 viewers playing on Twitch.
Oh, I'm gonna stream it tomorrow morning.
Literally, this game is. What's that?
I'm gonna stream it tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get all into it. I'm gonna wake up 8 o'clock. I'm gonna get the crust out my eyes. I'm gonna sit down right here. I'm gonna boot up some Windjammers 2. I'm gonna try it for the first time, man. You scared me though. You said there's 4 usable buttons. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of buttons for Windjammers. If you guys don't know,
so the game previously,
it's a 2-button game.
It was just a 2-button game. Now, thing I have contemplated. Now, obviously, this event this weekend, we want everybody to experience Windjammers 2, but I have already toyed around with the idea of hosting events with the gentleman's agreement that you only use the 2 original buttons. So even though the game,
Mike, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. I don't want to hear GAs be brought up in another game ever again. I'm dealing with the Call of Duty scene this year. I don't want to hear the word GA coming out of anybody's mouth ever again. No, but that sounds dope. They'll probably have a setting.
I'm going to coin the term JA then. Are you ready? It's a jammers agreement.
Okay, I respect that. Just don't say gentleman's agreement ever again. They're forcing us into preset classes, bro. But no, Shut Up and Jam this Saturday. Where is it going to be at? Where are you going to see it? Where can you view it? It's
you're going to also Twitch. So it's going to be on Twitch. It's going to be on Will English's stream. Will English also, he usually pushes his streams out to like YouTube, Facebook, and stuff like that. But follow him on Twitter. Again, that's where you're going to get all the deets, all the details, all the updates, and things like that. And it's going to be just, if anything else, just download the demo. Go to Steam. Please. Just download the demo. Give it a try.
Make it the biggest esport in the world.
Well, we do have some select backing. I sent out a tweet earlier today. If you're familiar with Xavier Woods from WWE, aka Austin Creed, he was playing it on his stream earlier. He was playing it on the WWE's Up Up Down Down YouTube channel earlier. He's not only into this game, he's a passionate fan of the first game as well. He has competed at Evo. He has competed in other Windjammers events across the country, but is actually, I will confirm this because I don't know if it's actually confirmed anywhere else. He is actually one of the NPC characters that's in the background of one of the stages.
Oh, really?
So he has a really good agreement. He's got a really good relationship.
We need to host Windjammers tournaments.
I would be 1,000% down. And here's the thing. I would love to actually start out with Windjammers, the original game, before we jump into 2. Now, obviously, Windjammers 2 demo is only available for a limited amount of time. I would love for us to start hosting original Windjammers tournaments and workshops with new players. I want to teach people how to play this game, get into it. It's literally that it's unlike anything else that's out there. It's Pong meets Street Fighter. It's more reflex based. It's just the game is phenomenal.
Reads. Heavy
yes.
reads.
A lot of reads.
A lot of reads. That's why I like playing with you. Because when we got in the flow, I'm like, oh yes. We're reading each other. It feels nice. It's a true bonding experience.
I had the second match that I had with Windjammers 2 online. I could tell it was a new player, and you know what I did? I just slowed down. Yeah. I just threw him the disc. Like that's the thing is like the community is super welcoming, and the thing is like after you've played the game for 10 minutes, you're good. Like you could theory craft, you could look up frame data, you could look up all this other stuff, but it's not necessary because you know what? At the end of the day, it's did you react fast enough? Did you get the read? Yeah. Or did you trick up your opponent?
It's a very simple game. I love it. I'm super excited. Do you have anything else you want to end at the end of? We're rounding up the end of this podcast, man.
I had a couple other news topics, but I think I'll save those for next week, just because it's starting to get to that time where there's so many topics and so many things we talk about, but I will save those for a later date. Otherwise, continue to support your online events. You had an online event. LFTG had an online event this past weekend.
Yeah, we had a Call of Duty event. I guess I could talk about that, huh? That sounds like
I want to hear about that.
It was a 3v3 CDL Search and Destroy tournament. Went very well. We had 12 teams. It was a single elimination bracket. The biggest body of the bracket was best of 3, and final was best of 5. Let me get into it. Right now. I can tell you who won. It was a great event though. It ran on time. We averaged decent viewership. And I think it was good games too. Like the final was a 3-0, but both of the semifinals went to game 5, and it was just a good time. I had a lot of fun. It's not pulling up. I don't know why it's not pulling up on my.
Well, I think the cool thing with that is like with it being a 3v3 event and getting that many teams, you're not that far off from getting a full. You get an 8-team bracket 4v4 and potentially more teams. Like you were literally almost at CDL level event as far as number of teams and participants.
It's a good time, man. I love hosting these events. We've been doing it for a while now, and it's just we're growing the Discord too. We're getting a lot of people like starting to run 8s and really like interacting with each other. And that's the most important part. All right, so we're gonna go first, second, and then we'll go through third, fourth. We had Warbab Attack, which is a team of Warrior Josh, Zap, and Baba. Warrior Josh, first blood every round. Like it like guaranteed got the first kill, and so many clutch situations. And the semifinal, one of the semifinals was crazy. The team name was RE Twerk Team. It was Alex M, Profio, and Zaire. Profio was another one of those players. Like, literally, if you go back and watch game 1 of Grand Finals was on Checkmate, and Profio and Warrior Josh, they were in a constant gunfight. And it literally came down to who won the first round out between those two. Unfortunately for Profio, Warrior Josh just, I feel like, had better strategy on the day. So it was, yeah, and then Alex M had at one point of the day he had a crazy 1v3 clutch on Miami. In round 11, it was game 3, round 11 on Miami in the semifinal, and he clutched a 1v3 on bomb site too. Third, fourth was Prophecies was Rifa, Prof, and Taiwu. This is the game that RE Twerk team had to beat to get to the semifinal, and then Slay and Company, which was Slay, KG, and Nifty, took our winners to quite some. I believe it took them to a game 3. Took them to game 3. First game was super close. The second game, Slaying Company squeaked it out, but the third game it was a 6-0 on Raid with War Bob Attack. So really good matches, really good matches. We're gonna plan out a full event series. I'm in the middle of working on that. We're gonna do it's gonna be a $2,000 total prize between 8 events, and it's gonna have the first 7 events are gonna be qualifiers. Last one's gonna be the invitational is gonna be a main event. It's gonna be I want to say it'll be like $1,200 in prizing. I kind of want to keep 3v3s. 3v3 was a very interesting dynamic. I don't want to flood the 4v4 scene with too much events.
Yeah.
And then on the same side, we're planning our Halo series as well. And then maybe we'll do something with Windjammers. I'm really thinking about doing something with Windjammers. I really want to. Because I tuned in a little bit with Frosties. I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted just because I was out of town. But Windjammers is a game I'm actually truly passionate about. But yeah, that's...
Well, to get on Fightcade 2 and play some games out for sure.
I will have to. First, I gotta play Windjammers 2.
It's get in there while you can.
Yeah, I gotta get in there while I can. But that's really it. That's all I have to talk about this week. What about you? You good?
No, it was another great week, and I'm gonna say another fantastic episode in the books. On to episode 20.
Wait.
Almost halfway, almost a half year.
Before we, dude, I haven't gotten to that point yet. The appreciation, because I gotta slowly cue in the music, man. It's nice piano, soft little. Let's get to the next song. Yeah, more piano. We're gonna slowly cue in this music, and as this soft piano plays, we're gonna take a look back and just reminisce about all the crazy games we got to watch this weekend, whether it was Frosties, the LFTG event, or some Challengers Call of Duty. Some great moments, possibly in esports history. I'd like to thank everyone for showing up and watching episode 19 of the LFTG podcast, and we hope you really come around for episode 20 because it is going to be something special. You're going to see true prediction mode. I'm going to be willing to throw some money on the line, possibly some gifted subs if I'm wrong. So be there, episode 20 next week. Who knows what time on Wednesday? Because we sure don't. Just go to @LFTG official on Twitter and follow us there, and we'll throw out a tweet before the show starts. And you can also go to LFTGofficial.com. Check out our new merch that we announced this weekend over the Call of Duty event. And you can also go to the events tab. You can join our Halo and Call of Duty Discord for more events. Shameless plug. Sip of whiskey, shameless plug.
You got a post-it note as a coaster? Is that what that was?
Yep. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I am your host, Refresh. Sitting next to me, kinda, but always is
kind of almost within arm's reach. I feel like I could if I like push hard enough, I feel like I could break out of here. It's Mohawkmike. Play Windjammers too. Well, you can.
Yeah, do that. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, bye-bye.